Hello and welcome back to What Stephen Reads. My name is Stephen. August is done, so now it's time to pick out some books for September. I don't want to say fall. I don't want to say it's a fall TBR pick because fall's not here yet. We still have 20 days left at the time of recording this of summer, but I do want to pick out some things since it is getting a little bit cooler out that have that full September vibes. So I'm going to be picking from here, not doing any shopping. I'm just, whatever's here, I will pick from. So I will be back after I pick some books out, and then from there, let's see what I'm gonna start reading in September. All right. As far as genres are concerned, I want to pick out one classic, one science fiction, one mystery thriller, but more towards traditional mystery, not so thrillery. I want to pick out something fantasy and something literary slash and or contemporary. And one horror. All right, so it's the next day, and I pulled out a bunch of books, and these are what I would like to read in September. It doesn't mean I'm going to get to all of them. I was definitely reading more last year, probably about 1 to 2 books a week, and then you know how you just trail off with certain hobbies and interests. So I kind of stopped reading as much, but you know, maybe now with the booktube I will be more inspired to read more often. I don't know, we'll see. But these are the books I picked, and one of them I actually already started last night because it is the next day, and I am loving it. So let's just start at, I guess, more contemporary romance. I have 2 picks here. So the first one is One Day by David Nichols, which I had read You Are Here, which I thought was a fantastic book. And I'm just going to read the description really quick. It's 1988, and Dexter Mayhem and Emma Morley have only just met. But after only one day together, they cannot stop thinking about one another. Over 20 years, snapshots of that relationship were revealed on the same day, July 15th of each year. Dex and Em face squabbles and fights, hopes and missed opportunities, laughter and tears, and as the true meaning of this one crucial day is revealed, they must come to grips with the nature of love and life itself. I really enjoyed the pacing of You Are Here. It wasn't like hardcore romance. It was a nice contemporary novel. It was set on a journey through England, and it was just really cool. I enjoyed it. So I'm hoping I like this one. This came out before You Are Here. And then the next one is, which I bought recently, Anywhere With You by Ellie Palmer. And I had given the synopsis of this. She is no longer with her partner. She's a divorcee. She works at the Ruth's Chris Steakhouse, which I love. And then she finds out her sister is marrying this guy that she's been on and off with for a long time. And I guess she doesn't like him very much. So she sets off on a journey with a male BFF to go and stop it. That's what I'm getting from the description. And they go on a road trip. And you can see the back of the minivan or whatever that is right there. And I guess they fall in love. I don't know if it's actually a romance. It sounds, they have a blurb from Abby Jimenez. Comfort food between the pages. Seconds Please by Abby Jimenez. Yeah, it just looks a little bit cozy, which is great for this time of year. So I'm looking forward to that. And then I had a queer romance, The Charm Offensive by Alison Cochrane. Cochran. I don't know how to pronounce that. And let's see. The real love story happens behind the scenes. Dev Deshpande has always believed in fairy tales, so it's no wonder that he's spent his career crafting them on the long-running reality dating show Ever After. As the most successful producer in the franchise's history, Dev always scripts the perfect love story for his contestants, even as his own love life crashes and burns. But then the show casts disgraced tech wonderkind Charlie Winshaw as its star. I never watched any of those shows. Those they're not even called dating shows. What are they called? Reality dating shows, I guess. Never had an interest in that. But this is queer, so it might be, I don't know, I heard good things about it, so I hope I will enjoy it. We'll see about that. Okay, and then, here, let's just flip this over. Let's see what I picked already. And then this, because it's September, and, you know, you go back to school, I'm a long, many, many years away from going back to school. So I picked two books that have to do with school. One is, it's actually the 20th anniversary edition. I didn't realize that when I bought it. The Perks of Being a Wallflower by Stephen Chbosky. And I started reading it last night, and I really wish I had read this back then. I don't know when it came out. Let's see, my assistant's here. Come here. Wanna come up? Come on, come up. You gonna sit? You be a good boy? Okay. I wish I had read it back then. It's not that I'm going through the same stuff as this guy's going through, but it's got that 90s vibes, and I was in high school in the 90s. It's really cool. I'm actually halfway done with it, so we'll see how fast that goes. And the other back to school book I got, R.F. Kuang's Babel, an Arcane History, and everyone's heard of this book. It's a dark academia book, and I said, all right, this might be the perfect time of year to read something like this. It's 1828. Robin Swift, orphaned by cholera in Canton, is brought to London by the mysterious Professor Lovell. There, Robin trains for years in Latin, ancient Greek, and Chinese, all in preparation for the day he'll enroll in Oxford University's prestigious Royal Institute of Translation, also known as Babel. So it sounds nice. I like R.F. Kuang's writing. But I also heard that every book that she has written has been very different as far as her style goes. But it's got great reviews. It sounds like the perfect type of book to read at this time of year. Then for science fiction, I picked out two books. I recently bought Kurt Vonnegut's Cat's Cradle. And let's see if it even gives a good description, because I feel like older books don't always do that in the back. It says, Cat's Cradle is Kurt Vonnegut's satirical commentary on modern man and his madness, an apocalyptic tale of this planet's ultimate fate. It features a little person as the protagonist, a complete original theology created by a calypso singer, and a vision of the future that is at once fatalistic and funny. A book that left an indelible mark on an entire generation of readers. Cat's Cradle is one of the 20th century's most important works, and Vonnegut at his very best. I don't know if that tells me anything about what this book is about, but I do know it's science fiction. I don't know if it's more dystopian, but I will try it out, and we'll see. And then a book I mentioned in one of the earlier videos that I had bought after deciding not to read Hail Mary, because someone had suggested that this is a little bit more uplifting and positive. The Martian by Andy Weir. I had seen the movie, loved the movie. I think you all know what The Martian's about. It's about a long-term journey to Mars, and there's an issue with getting back, and it's basically a journey to get back home to Earth. Next book, which I am excited to get to, is How to Seal Your Own Fate by Kristen Perrin. And I read the first book in this series, which is relatively new, How to Solve Your Own Murder. It was a cool mystery. I loved it, and I hope I'm going to love this one. So the main character, Annie Adams, I don't want to give anything away for the first book, but she's in a new home, and she's just getting settled in, and obviously, I guess, a new murder takes place, and since she was so skilled in the first book, I guess she's learned some more about solving cases, and yeah, it sounds cool. And the next book I picked out was The Sundown Motel by Simone St. James. It is a mystery novel. And I had bought this originally because I was looking for books about road trips. This was about a year and a half ago. And although this isn't a road trip book, it just sounded awesome and eerie, and the ambiance sounded really cool. It's about someone who had died or went missing during their visit to a motel in Fell, New York, which I've never heard of. And then we jump. That happens in 1982. Then we jump to 2017, I guess, when this book came out, and Carly Kirk could never get this missing woman who happens to be her Aunt Viv. What happened to her? So she goes to the motel to try and figure out and get some information what happened to her aunt. And I think that is a pretty cool cover. And I'm a sucker for cool covers. And this I picked up recently. I was looking for a mystery set in a building. I love the show Only Murders in the Building. Season, I don't even know if it's 4 or 5 is coming out soon. I'm looking forward to that. 10 Marchfield Square by Nicole Wythe. And I did see a different cover, but they didn't have it in the store. So I did get this one. When a criminal is murdered in a small residential square in London, elderly heiress and landlady Celeste Van Duren recruits 2 of her tenants to investigate. Her cleaner, Audrey, knows everyone and is liked by all, while failed writer Lewis is known by no one. He hates his job, hates his life, and he's not that fond of Audrey either, but Celeste is persuasive. As they hunt for clues in and around Marchfield Square, they find everyone has something to hide, including their fellow residents. It sounds just like Only Murders in the Building. I love that whole setup. Despite their differences, the two soon discover a worrying range of suspects and motives connected to the victims' shady art deals. And it goes on a little bit more, but there's no need to say everything. I'm always afraid of giving something away to myself and to you. Then some cozy books. I have 3 cozy books, booked to read when I'm laying in bed or just trying to wind down, nothing too tense. Matt Haig, The Midnight Library, and I mentioned this a few weeks ago because I was reading another book about, which other direction could the character's life had gone in, and that sounds kind of like that. We all have regrets, choices we could have made differently, paths we didn't take, other lives we might have led, but what if you were given a chance to fix your past? Enter the Midnight Library. And the main character's name is Nora, and things just go from bad to worse, and says that at the stroke of midnight on her last day on Earth, she finds herself transported to the Midnight Library, and every book has an alternate reality of where her life took her. And I guess she's allowed to explore all these different life choices that she made. And the book was hugely popular. I just never got around to reading it. And then Bookshops and Bone Dust by Travis Baldree. I, of course, have mentioned Legends and Lattes, which I really liked. And this is actually a prequel, it's not a sequel. So I guess we start off learning more about Viv, who is an orc in this fantasy world. And I guess she either works in a bookstore as opposed to owning a coffee shop. And you can see that cool drawing of Viv. And then a book that I saw in the bookstore and I couldn't resist. I am a child of the 80s and 90s and the Golden Girls. I think that show was awesome and still holds up today. It's Murder by Cheesecake by Rachel Ekstrom Courage, a Golden Girls cozy mystery. And look at that shot of them all on top over there. Let's see what it says. Things are heating up, and it's not just one of Blanche's hot flashes. With Rose hosting her cousin's wedding in Miami, if she can't pull off the traditional St. Olaf wedding customs, her hometown may never accept her cousin back again. Wanting a witty conversationalist for the sure-to-be-strange event, Dorothy tries this newfangled VHS dating service she's heard all about. Unfortunately, what appeared to be the ideal man on tape turns out to be a jerk in real life. And then, let's see. Set to enjoy the wedding in the company of Sophia Blanche and whomever Blanche targets with her feminine wiles, Dorothy pitches in to help the increasingly frantic Rose plan the events. Despite tensions between the two wedding families and certain St. Olafians' mistrust of the big city, the opening tea is going perfectly, not a herring out of place. That is, until Dorothy's date is found dead, face planted in an otherwise scrumptious-looking cheesecake. With every guest a suspect and a marriage on the line, it's up to the Golden Girls to sleuth out the real killer and ensure love, humor, and friendship win the day. This sounds freaking awesome. I think I'm going to put this at the top of the list of books I get to. And I did pick one horror. I really want to read horrors more in October. There's a few books I want to get to. But I've never read a Stephen King novel. And I started buying these vintage cover novels. And this one is Pet Sematary. And I have Carrie, I have Misery. There's a few others on the bookshelf. So I picked this one for the first one. If I do get to it, it'll be towards the end of the month as we get into October. Pet Sematary, I think we all know what Pet Sematary is about. I'm not even sure if I've seen the movie. I think I have. There's a pet cemetery where I believe there's a rumor that if you bury your lost pet there, it comes back to life. And there's a character in the story that passes away, and they decide to bury that person in the pet cemetery, hoping that the person will come back to life and hence activate horror. So it sounds good, and listen, it's a classic horror book that tons of people have read and loved, and I just never got around to any Stephen King. I would like to read The Stand one day. It's just huge. Maybe that'll be a big book choice. And I'm still picking out a really big book to read. Although Babel's kind of a contender. This is a pretty big book. Babel is about 540 pages. I don't know if that's considered a really big book. I have read big books before, but about that length. But The Stand, I think, is like 1,000 pages or something like that. So there are my September TBR picks. Again, not guaranteeing I'm getting to all these books. I do have a job. I have to work. I can't not work. That's impossible. So I will try to get to these one by one and making progress with The Perks of Being a Wallflower, which I started last night. All right. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.